The quiet exodus: why international airlines are leaving the U.S. Have you noticed it? Something big is happening, but almost nobody's talking about it. International airlines are quietly disappearing from the U.S. It's not a random trend. The reasons are piling up: tougher entry policies, a travel experience many describe as hostile, economic uncertainty, and a fading sense of trust in America. At the same time, destinations across Europe and Asia are rising fast, offering stability, competitive prices, and far friendlier service. Right now, 6 major airports are gradually pulling away from the U.S. Some of the names you could probably guess, but others will definitely catch you off guard. And the very last airline on that list, that's the clearest sign yet that a brand new global travel order is taking shape. 1. Play Airlines, the end of the $99 dream. Remember those days when you could fly straight from Reykjavik to Boston for just $99? It wasn't just a quick getaway, it almost became a European rite of passage. Those cheap flights turned the American dream into something reachable, even for students or middle-class families in Northern Europe. But now, all of that is just a memory. In the spring of 2025, Play Airlines, the brand that once symbolized youthful, affordable travel, suddenly vanished from U.S. skies. There was no farewell announcement, no official press release. One morning, ticket agents noticed that if you typed Reykjavik to Boston, the system gave you nothing. And that silence hit harder than any market collapse because it didn't feel like a business failure, it felt like a door quietly closing. The ripple effect, though, was anything but quiet. In just 12 short months, the number of Nordic travelers heading to the U.S. fell off a cliff, down by 60%. The U.S. Travel Association confirmed this wasn't just a temporary slowdown, but a real migration. A wave of travelers who once saw America as their go-to weekend adventure are now shifting elsewhere, with no sign of coming back. The real breaking point is the visa process. What's supposed to be a relaxing trip now feels like a gamble: endless paperwork, weeks of waiting, and the risk of rejection even after you've bought your ticket. For many Nordic travelers, it's just not worth the humiliation. A recent survey by the European Travel Commission says it all: 71% of Nordic tourists now prioritize Canada or Japan over the United States. Why? Because those places don't just offer simpler entry requirements, they make visitors feel welcome, respected, and safe. Then there's another factor making people think twice: healthcare anxiety. A report from a Norwegian insurance company revealed that the average cost of an emergency medical treatment in the U.S. can reach as high as $15,000 if you don't have coverage. That. 2. Singapore Airlines, the flawless service retreats. Say the name Singapore Airlines, and people instantly think of luxury and service at the highest level. They never needed flashy ads or price wars. Customers chose it because it was flawless, a guarantee of peace of mind in the air. But here's the shocker: even they're pulling back. For years, the sight of a Singapore Airlines jet landing at LAX or San Francisco Airport was a routine part of the natural rhythm of global aviation. But in 2025, something changed. Quietly, almost invisibly, the airline began cutting nearly all of its non-stop flights to the U.S. This isn't just a business adjustment, it's a signal. Because Singapore Airlines isn't just another carrier, they represent excellence itself. If even they believe America is no longer worth the effort, it points to something breaking at a much deeper level. The reasons aren't a mystery. Landing fees keep rising. Ground support is slower. Terminals are crowded and chaotic. What used to be a seamless, world-class arrival experience in the U.S. has become unpredictable, sometimes downright unpleasant. Asian travelers, especially from Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand, are voting with their feet. They're heading to Vancouver, Sydney, or Tokyo instead, where immigration is smooth, ground services are efficient, and, most importantly, visitors feel genuinely welcomed. For America, losing a few flights may not sound catastrophic. But zoom out, and it's more than just capacity, it's about stature. A stature once seen as the essential bridge between East and West. Singapore Airlines doesn't waste words, they act. And when they decide America is no longer worth it, the message is ice cold. Your plane might still fly over US skies, but it won't land here anymore. 3. Air Canada and WestJet, when your neighbor avoids your house. When even your next-door neighbor avoids your house, you have to ask what changed. In 2025, Canada's two largest airlines, Air Canada and WestJet, slashed over 40% of their US flights. And not just the small, secondary routes, they cut the big ones, the lifelines. Vancouver to Las Vegas, Toronto to Orlando, Calgary to New York. These were seasonal bridges carrying millions of Canadians south every winter. Now, those bridges are collapsing. This isn't about fuel savings or logistics headaches. At its core, it's about trust. Canadians who once instinctively looked to Florida or California for winter escapes are re-evaluating the real value of traveling south. Why pay more for chaos when a quiet lakeside resort in Quebec or a Mountain View hotel in Vancouver offers peace, safety, and no border hassles for less? A survey from Destination Canada found that 69% of Canadians over 50 no longer see the US as a safe or attractive destination. That's a crucial group. They've got the money, the free time, and they usually spend big when they travel. But now, they're walking away. So, what changed? Maybe it's the growing sense of unease at places that once felt perfectly safe. Maybe it's the runaway costs, from hidden hotel fees to $50 a night just to park in downtown LA. When folks who once treated America like their backyard vacation spot start saying, too loud, too expensive, too unpredictable, it signals a deeper shift in how Canadians see the US. It's no longer their number one choice, but just one of many places they can easily skip. For All Nippon Airways, the symbol of aspiration retreats. San Francisco International used to be a busy bridge connecting East and West. Now it feels more like an airport just waiting. All Nippon Airways, or ANA, Japan's flagship carrier, has been quietly scaling back its U.S. operations throughout 2025. For many Japanese travelers, America used to be a symbol of aspiration. Today, ANA's retreat tells a very different story. Why is ANA pulling back? The reasons keep stacking up: delayed flights, higher landing fees, short-staffed airports, chaotic security checks, and sluggish customs. For an airline built on precision and punctuality, flying into the US now feels less like a reward and more like a gamble. Japanese culture places a high value on harmony, respect, and trust. But when flights become unreliable and passengers feel treated like a problem instead of honored guests, that trust evaporates. Families are already changing course: Tokyo to Toronto, Osaka to Vancouver, where everything is reliable, respectful, and regret-free. If ANA quietly steps away from America's runways, it's not just the skies that shift, it's the entire direction of travel itself. 5. Air France, a European silence. When the national carrier of a country starts losing international flights, that's not a scheduling adjustment. It's a blunt warning. By mid-2025, Air France began quietly pulling back from U.S. skies. Nearly 46% of its flights to America have either been cut or rerouted. This isn't just a business optimization move, it's a message. One Air France operations executive put it plainly: we go where passengers feel respected and safe. The issue isn't only with Air France. It's with the way French travelers are starting to think about flying to the US. Instead of an open door, travelers describe the US as a guarded fortress. Long security lines, invasive checks, and sometimes even harsh attitudes from customs officers make the journey feel heavy right from the first step off the plane. For many, that's not travel anymore, it's a trial. The numbers back it up. Visa rejection rates for French citizens shot up by 31% in 2025. These aren't just isolated complaints anymore, they're turning into a collective warning. Costs are also making the US an even tougher sell. According to the Euro Travel Index, spending a week in New York now costs up to 28% more than a week in Tokyo, yet the satisfaction travelers report is noticeably lower. So, Air France responded in a very European way. No shouting, no loud statements. They simply, 6, Lufthansa, a vote of no confidence. When Lufthansa retreats, it's not just a flight path that changes. It's the balance of the global airline industry itself. In 2025, Germany's flagship carrier made a strategic decision to withdraw from key U.S. routes. Flights from Frankfurt to Chicago, Miami, and Atlanta, connections that had fueled economic and cultural exchange for decades, simply vanished. So why did Lufthansa pull back? According to internal sources, the reasons piled up: rising uncertainty, higher security costs, and, most importantly, social instability. Protests near airports, homeless encampments outside terminals, and travelers feeling unsafe the moment they touch down in the U.S. For Lufthansa, the equation no longer made sense. Lufthansa is now shifting its resources toward Asia: Seoul, Delhi, Tokyo. More flights, on time, with passengers knowing exactly what to expect. Meanwhile, in the U.S., even frequent flyers described feeling watched and unwelcome. This pullback isn't just about operations, it's about emotions. When a German institution, long known for precision and patience, decides that America is no longer worth the risk, maybe it's time to listen. Because when trusted airlines walk away in silence, that silence is a vote of no confidence. Tools.